What if the real danger isn't the people who hate others, but the reason they learned to? Neuroscientists say the brain stores social pain longer than physical wounds, leaving behind scars no one can see. Imagine a mind hit repeatedly by rejection, betrayal, or humiliation. Eventually it stops reaching out, not from cruelty, but from survival. And so begins a quiet retreat into isolation. In this opening moment, we don't meet a villain. We meet someone who once trusted too much. And now, they're learning to stay away. Today, we step inside the fragile architecture of a hurt mind. Silence wasn't always their home. Once, they rushed toward connection, convinced it was natural and safe. But reality corrected them in small, forgettable moments. Unanswered messages, half-hearted replies, plans that somehow never happened. Nothing dramatic, just a pattern. Neglect accumulates like dust, barely visible until it's everywhere. Each tiny disappointment adds another invisible brick to a wall no one else sees. Behind that wall, hope shrinks to something cautious and conditional. They don't stop reaching out all at once. They slow down, hesitate, then quietly stop, convinced that saving energy is smarter than chasing people. Psychology calls this social pain, and brain scans show it activates many of the same regions as physical pain. That means when someone is ignored, excluded, or subtly dismissed, their mind registers it like a small injury. One cut heals. Hundreds, over years, change how you move through the world. People who hate people often carry this invisible history. Their dislike isn't random, it's learned. Their nervous system has built an association. People equal pain. So avoiding people doesn't feel cruel. It feels logical, like keeping your hand away from a hot stove after being burned too often. Our first type is the betrayed soul. This person didn't start out cynical, they started out open. They trusted friends with secrets, partners with their heart, family with their vulnerabilities. And somewhere along the line, the people they depended on vanished or turned away at crucial moments. Psychology shows that repeated betrayal reshapes expectations. The brain begins to generalize. If the ones I loved most could hurt me, anyone can. So they armor up. They keep conversations shallow and exits nearby. It isn't that they can't care. It's that caring now feels like inviting disaster. For many betrayed souls, animals feel safer than people. Pets don't play emotional games. They don't disappear after promising forever. They respond to presence, not status. Research even shows that animal companionship can regulate stress and lower anxiety. So our character starts spending more evenings with a dog or cat than with friends. It isn't immaturity. It's choosing a bond where warmth doesn't suddenly freeze. To outsiders, it may look like they hate people and love animals. In truth, they're gravitating toward the only relationship where trust hasn't been weaponized against them. The second type doesn't hate people as individuals. They hate the constant noise that comes with them. Their nervous system is like a microphone set to high sensitivity. Crowds, overlapping conversations, constant notifications, emotional drama. It all piles up until their body feels overloaded. So they retreat, not because they dislike humanity, but because their internal volume is already too high. Psychology links this to traits like introversion and sensory sensitivity. Yet when they choose quiet nights over parties, others mislabel them as cold or superior. They're not rejecting people, they're protecting their peace. The peace seeker pays a price for choosing solitude. People question them. Why don't you join us? What's wrong with you? Their preference for quiet gets framed as a flaw to fix. Over time, they learn that saying, "I'm overwhelmed," leads to criticism, while saying, "I don't like people," shuts down the conversation. So they adopt the sharper language. It's easier to be seen as distant than to constantly justify the need for rest. Inside, they don't wish harm on anyone. They simply wish the world would stop demanding justification for their boundaries. The third type doesn't just seek peace. They've grown bitter. Repeated humiliation, exploitation, or injustice has convinced them that people as a whole are selfish and cruel. They track every lie, every manipulation, every broken promise, until their internal story hardens. Humanity is the problem. Psychologically, this can stem from chronic anger and unresolved hurt. Their focus narrows to the worst in people, and they start ignoring nuance. It's not that these experiences weren't real, they often were, but their pain has been given a new job: to justify permanent mistrust. From this place, the disillusioned cynic starts interpreting almost everything as proof they were right. An honest mistake becomes deliberate malice. A delay becomes disrespect. Their brain highlights every selfish act and filters out quiet kindness. Cognitive science calls this a confirmation bias. We notice what fits our story. The result is a worldview where people stop being individuals and start being a single, disappointing category. So when they say, "I hate people," it isn't a joke. It's the shield they use to never again feel naive. By now, we've met three faces of "I hate people": the betrayed soul, the peace seeker, and the disillusioned cynic. On the surface, they all sound alike. They avoid groups, distrust others, and keep their distance. But inside, their motives are different. One hides scars, another shields sensitivity, the third defends a hardened worldview. Psychology reminds us that behavior can look identical, while the underlying stories diverge completely. Judging them as simply negative misses the complexity of their survival strategies. It's easy to paint these people as villains, cold, bitter, antisocial. But look closer and you see strategies, not evil. The betrayed soul learned distance to avoid repeating trauma. The peace seeker learned to decline invitations to keep their nervous system intact. The cynic learned to preempt disappointment by assuming the worst. None of these reactions are random. They are shaped by lived experience, nervous systems, and patterns of reinforcement. Their hate is often just a clumsy word for, "I have been hurt too deeply for too long to relax around you." Still, these strategies come with a cost. Chronic mistrust and isolation can increase loneliness, anxiety, even depression. Humans are wired for connection. Even the ones who feel safest alone still carry a buried need to be seen accurately. When they shut everyone out, they may avoid further harm, but they also block potential safety, care, and growth. Psychology doesn't romanticize isolation. It recognizes it as a trade-off. Protecting yourself from people can also mean protecting yourself from the possibility of healing through people. So what do we do with people who say, "I hate people"? We can dismiss them as negative, or we can get curious. What story produced that sentence? What pattern of hurt, overwhelm, or betrayal taught them that distance equals safety? Understanding doesn't mean excusing cruelty, but it does mean recognizing that extreme reactions usually sit on top of unspoken histories. When we see only the armor, we forget there's a nervous system underneath, doing its best to avoid pain it already knows too well. If you recognize yourself in any of these types, it doesn't make you broken. It means your mind has been doing its best to protect you, even if the strategy now feels heavy. Therapy, honest friendships, And gradual exposure to safer people can help rewrite the story your brain keeps repeating. You don't have to rush toward crowds or force yourself into fake positivity. Tiny, consistent experiences of being respected and understood can slowly teach your nervous system that not everyone is a threat. The psychology of people who hate people isn't about monsters lurking in plain sight. It's about ordinary minds adapting to extraordinary levels of hurt, noise, or disappointment. Under the blunt sentence, "I hate people," there is almost always a quieter one. "I don't know how to be safe with people anymore." When we understand that, the conversation shifts from judgment to context, from blame to curiosity. And maybe, for some, that understanding becomes the first tiny crack in the wall they built to survive.